All right, here come the tough questions. Because there's something confusing to me that I don't know if I understand from you. I have good friends who are Muslim. Zuhdi Jasser, who is you know him?
I know the name.
Yeah, he's a good man. And he is inside trying to reform. Do you believe that you can be a Muslim and not be an extremist or terrorist or a danger to the West?
Well, it's not important if I think that's possible. I think it's important if Islam believes it's possible.
Wait. I'm going to stop here because I want to make sure I get you every step of the way here and understand what you're saying. If you say that, you are giving the responsibility of definition of who's a Muslim and who's a bad Muslim to the extremist.
No.
No?
Now listen, my definition of Islam is twofold. A, it's what's written in the Quran. B, it's the life of Muhammad. Anything else is unimportant. Because as you know, Muslims believe that the Quran was the literal word of God. And the original copy is still in heaven on the golden table, and it was recited in the year 610 at the night of Qamar through Gabriel to Muhammad. But it's the literal word of God. And the word of Muhammad, as an example, is also the life of Muhammad is an example for many people as well. And the Sirah, the biography of Muhammad, teaches us his life. Anything else is unimportant. So I believe that there is no and there never will be a moderate Islam. However, I believe in people. I make a distinction between the ideology. I believe Islam is more, maybe we can talk about it later a little bit more, an ideology than a religion, and the people. And of course, most people who call themselves Muslims are non-violent, are not terrorists, are not extremists. It would be ridiculous even to suggest that. So I acknowledge the fact that the majority of the people who call themselves Muslims are non-violent, moderate people, but according to the two bases of the Islam, being the Quran and the life of Muhammad, they will probably will not be seen as
Okay, you're a big supporter of Israel.
And I'm the biggest one, at least in Holland.
Okay. I'll arm wrestle you. Big supporter on Israel.
Yeah.
I know some of the biggest rabbis in all of Judaism today. Some of them extremely orthodox. Some of them not. But wait, hang on. But I don't know a single one of them that stones somebody to death for adultery. Okay? But they're still Jewish. Even though the text says, without the New Testament, the text says, stone them for adultery. They don't do it because there was reform and growth there. Aren't people like Zuhdi reformers who are saying, hey, we shouldn't stone people to death for homosexuality anymore? And isn't that important to support those people? Even if you didn't believe in anything that they believe, wouldn't that help destroy the tenets and the support of those who are stoning people for being homosexual?
But there's a big difference between Judaism or Christianity and Islam. Not only the difference that Muslims believe that it's the literal word of God, unlike in Christianity and Judaism, but look at the Quran, look what it says, and you can totally not compare it to the other real religions. It says that apostates have to be killed. It says that the infidels have to be killed. It says that the Christians and the Jews have to be killed. As a matter of fact, when Muhammad traveled from Mecca to Medina, the Jews did not want to stone anymore, and he reintroduced it for adultery. So even if you look at it from an historical reason, there is a big difference between Islam and the other religions. So yes, I applaud people like your friend, and I know many of them myself as well, who are for moderation, who want to assimilate in any possible way in our free societies. And I wish that more people did it. The best way according to me, would be that Muslims, if they would, as a matter of fact, choose for liberty, for them to leave Islam, to not consider themselves Muslim anymore. And it's not my invention. It's like the Turkish Prime Minister, Mr. Erdogan, said, and unfortunately on that part I have to agree with him. I disagree with a lot of things he says, but I agree with him. He says there is only one Islam, and that is the Islam of the Quran. And this, unfortunately, is true. We can and we should invest in people, but we should forget about it's a fairy tale to think that Islam will be moderated even in 1,000 years.
I don't think I agree with you on that. But
okay.
So then in your, let's say, you become the king of the world. Do you ban Islam?
I would not ban Islam, but I would make it, I would have less Islam, yes. I proposed...
Well, that doesn't, I mean, in America, those are politicians who say, abortion, I'm against it, but it should be available and safe. And
well, let me give you a fair answer. In our party program in Holland, we are saying no more mosques in the Netherlands. We do. It's ridiculous, if you talk about reciprocity, that we allow hundreds of mosques in our society, where at the same time not one church can be built in Saudi Arabia. If you have a Bible, you will be sentenced for some kind of terrible penalty. So I say no more mosques in our societies. I say stop and close down all the Islamic schools. I want young Muslim children to assimilate, to get a job, to get Dutch friends, and not start as young children in a school that is based on separation and violence, because once again that's true. And maybe, if you allow me, the big difference is that I see, and this is what I try to explain in my book Mark for Death, is that Islam is not so much a religion. Yes, it has temples, it has a God, it has a holy book, so maybe 10% of the symbolism is really religion. But the content really is to be compared with totalitarian ideologies. That's why I always say, please don't make the mistake. I know how important freedom of religion, especially in the United States of America, is. But don't see Islam as a religion. Compare it with communism or fascism. They also had in common that you were not allowed to leave it. If you leave Islam, the penalty is death. It was not different in Nazi Germany or in communist Russia. The ruling that they have was not only for their own group, it was imposed on everybody. Look how Christians are treated in the Middle East. It's as bad as it never should have been. So if we see Islam more as an ideology than a religion, then the answer and the solution is that we should have less Islam instead of more. And I believe nobody believed in the past as well that fascism or communism could be moderated. Those were very wrong ideologies, like, according to me, Islam is. It doesn't say anything about the people, but the ideology is totally wrong and dangerous.